Hi, everybody. I guess you noticed that my hat's on, and I'm sure at some point during this few minutes together, you're going to see me, you'll realize that I'm sweaty. That's because I just got back from my run. Normally, what I try to do is to clean up, take a shower, put on a clean shirt. But the problem with that was for the last couple days, by the time I got around to sitting down and doing this, I didn't do it. And so I just decided on my run, I'm going to get home and I'm going to do it now. So I want to tell you about something that happened the other day. I think that really put a little bit of maturity in this activity of engaging strangers in conversation and put some perspective and put some bigger bonuses, bigger gifts about engaging people. So the other day I'm at Starbucks and I finished doing my work and I'm just about finished doing my work and this older gentleman sat next to me and he made a comment. He's looking around and he made a comment about everybody being on their electronic devices. And then he pointed at my watch, which is a Apple Watch, and he asked me about it. And I said, well, not only do I have my Apple computer, I've got my Apple iPhone, now I've got my Apple Watch, and he shook his head and started laughing, and he pulled out his phone. He says, "This is all I've got." And what was interesting about that, I told him, "What do you mean that's all you've got? That's a computer." He had a smartphone. But at any rate, we got off of that because I asked him, "What apps do you have?" And he didn't know how to find his apps. So at any rate, but the interesting thing about talking to him as we talked, he said, he used to come in a lot. He used to have friends there, and he'd meet his friends, and his friends would talk. And he wasn't doing that anymore because he moved. He moved to a different spot, so this was not a convenient location for him to meet friends anymore. And so I asked him about the things, that they talked about. Did they talk about politics? Did they talk about? And he said, we talked about everything. And what I noticed as he was talking to me is that he would continually look over my shoulder, almost as if he was looking for somebody who he knew that I was the second choice for the date. Like, I don't have anybody else, so I guess I'll talk to you. And that's what it seemed like. Although he would come in and out of giving me full attention, but somehow we got on the topic of education, which is what my field is. And he told me that he had a daughter who was in education. In fact, he had two daughters who were teachers. Interesting thing was, he told me where they worked, and I actually knew his daughter. And she was an excellent teacher. That was one thing that he and I agreed about. But I'm thinking, what a small world. And then we had this whole thing in common that we talked about. And so my questions to him after having shared this, having have this shared friend, my questions didn't seem so intrusive. They didn't have the creepy factor, as I'm going to say. But one of the things about the creepy factor that was really funny about what he had to say, real early in the conversation, he looked at me very seriously and he said, "Don't take this the wrong way, but what color are your eyes?" And I said, "They're brown." He said, "They're brown, but look at them, they're brown, and then sometimes they look blue." And I started laughing. I said, "You're not hitting on me, are you?" He goes, "Oh, no, no." And we started laughing. But at any rate, he's 87 years old. He was a joy to talk to. His name was Forrest. Um, got to connect vicariously to his daughter, who I hadn't seen for a long time. But uh, one of the most interesting things about this conversation was he engaged in conversation with me. I think it was fine for both of us, but the whole time he was looking over my shoulder, looking for somebody better, really looking for a friend. The conversation was okay, but he was looking for a friend. So today, go out and meet somebody, possibly make a friend. If not, then just have fun. Talk to you soon.